Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our training for tonight. And we're going to be talking about recurring revenue. And without further ado, we're going to dive right in. As a reminder, we have released our New Marketer Workshop Volume 2 today. If you are an Ultimate Insider, I will be adding that to your courses for this month. If you are not yet an Ultimate Insider, you can still join today and you can still get access to both Volume 1 and Volume 2. But that's only going to be for about another, I think, another 6 hours or so. Probably by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll be a paid offer inside of the Insider membership. However, it won't be very expensive. You do want to make sure you're getting all of these volumes because by the time it's done, you're going to have a complete membership just with these tutorial videos that I'm doing for new marketers. So having said that, you can sign up to be an Ultimate Insider at theplrshow.com/insiders. And so let's talk tonight about how you're going to create recurring revenue through memberships. And I have been taken to calling this a learning center. If you want to call it that, it really doesn't matter what you call it. You can really, if you focus on this, right? If you focus on this, I mean, this will really kind of change the way that you look at information marketing. And it has been an emphasis of mine for about the last, I'd say for the last 2 years, because it's very important for everybody to get this element into their information marketing business. It really does change the way you look at customers. It changes the way you look at the entire business, changes the way you approach it. So let's get into it. The first thing I do want to say is that if you're thinking about a membership, and everyone is, you want to consider information marketing. And there's a really specific reason as to why I think that. And I think that regardless of what you're doing, you should be putting recurring payments into every product line you have. So, whatever you're selling, it doesn't, if you're selling, candles or mugs, you need to work in some level of recurring payment so you can deliver value to your customers on a regular basis. And so I just think that that is a standing rule in business and is a standing rule in today's business, especially when, you are, for the most part, you are your brand. And there are a lot of solo business owners where the person who's really making the decisions, they represent the brand. And if that's the case, then you want to have a personal and the way that you develop a personal relationship really with some of the people you're going to be working with is to put them on a recurring payment, right? And I'll get into why that means. But one of the ways you do that is you create an information marketing business, and basically you're teaching people. So, yes, you are going to be selling something of value, but it's really going to be education. It's really going to be how to, it's going to be how to better make your customer better at something or helping them to overcome something. And so you probably have some area of expertise where you can do that. And that's what you want to provide as an information marketer. So it doesn't matter what you're selling. You need to develop or consider developing a part of your business where you are teaching your customer something, where you are inspiring them in some way, where you are elevating them in some way. So it doesn't always have to be just straight education. When I say education, what I really mean is sometimes it's really entertainment, right? If you entertain your customers on a regular basis, you just want to put them on a recurring payment. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, whether it's entertainment, enlightenment, or education, you need to be putting people on a recurring payment schedule. Now, here's one of the reasons why you want to do that, because everything that you create as an information marketer really comes out of your head. It comes out of your experience. And it really is the only way for you to monetize those things that you know and that you have learned. In most cases, even when you are, creating something physical, it's very difficult for you to monetize things that you have learned and things that you have not been able to necessarily implement. However, you can implement things into your business, leave some things on the cutting room floor. You can pick up all those things that you were not able to implement and teach people how to do something that you have learned and you have mastered. And so it's one way of recapturing some of what you have gained over the course of years and in some cases where you have gained formal training. Um, it's easy for you to get other people to sell it. You know, if you're going to develop some kind of affiliate relationship, if you're going to develop some kind of partnership, it's very easy to do that with information marketing. So if you have something, a product, or you have a system that you can sell people, it's easy for you to get other people involved to help you to present those offers or to present that to their audience in order to help you to make sales and get new people into your marketing funnel. And it's really, regardless of what you're providing, it's the best way to get people excited about what they've already purchased. And so if you've got something and you provide a service, one of the ways that you can get people excited about what you have, about how you've served them, is to teach them something. Teach them how to get more out of what it is that they have purchased from you. And so if you sell that on a regular basis, what you're going to be doing is you're going to get people more engaged into what it is that you sell anyway. And then, now this is just kind of scientific. Studies in various industries indicate that customer education is positively correlated with customer loyalty. So in other words, if you educate your customer on a regular basis, whether you sell that information or whether you train that information, you will tend to have more loyal customers. That is, it's scientific and it's been proven across industries. And so even if you're not necessarily going to want to sell information, one of the things you definitely want to be doing is you definitely want to be training people on a regular basis, regardless of what you're selling. Physical, digital, service, product, you should be training people because it engenders loyalty. The other thing is it's positively correlated with the number of times people purchase. So if you are an educator and you are trying to sell people something, again, I'm not saying that it always has to be an information product where you're selling information, but if you are in general educating people, the tendency is you will sell to people who will buy from you more often. Again, it is scientific, it is cross industries. And so this is something that you just want to recognize. And again, even if you don't want to sell information, you should be training. But I want to convince you that part of what you want to be doing in developing a recurring relation, in developing recurring revenue, is to develop information products. And then also the amount that people purchase from you. Again, all of these things are going to be positively correlated. Now, you can actually check some of these things out if you go to your favorite search engine or you go to Google Scholar and you just type in the search terms customer education and read some of the articles. Just read the abstract and it'll blow your mind, and you'll start to see that customer education is a very important element in the psychological process of getting people to buy and getting people to buy more from you. Now, why implement memberships? Why should we do this? Well, because it smooths out your income. So if you are a service provider, you probably get paid when you finish the service. And sometimes that's going to be after you after you've completed something that might be very difficult. But in general, you want to make sure that, again, everything does not depend on your actions, your prospecting skills, what you did this month in order to get new business. You want to make sure that your income is going to be smoother. Again, this only makes you a better service provider if you can do this. The other thing, it occupies your customers from your competition. And so whether it is financially or whether it is attention wise, basically, if you've got the attention of your customer, your competition does not. Memberships give you a way of forming working capital until you have to deliver what it is that you are selling. Very important aspect of what it is that you're doing as a solo business owner. Memberships give you flexibility in the timing, creation, delivery of your product and service. So if you know that one of the things you have to do in order to put together an income stream is that you've got to deliver at a certain period of time, you need flexibility in some cases, especially as a solo business owner. A solo business owner has life happen in some cases. In some cases, you know, you don't really always have someone that you're relying on, but basically, if you're going to put an income together, you can't make it all determinate, you can't make it all be determined based on actions you do this month, right? So you get additional flexibility. Memberships allow you to build a deeper relationship with your customers, and this is what is most important. You then can kind of take a step back. You've got time to think about what it is you can deliver. You've got time to figure out what will basically meet their needs and what it is that they're looking for. You will develop a deeper relationship with your customer, and that is really what is going to be most important about generating income from memberships. Memberships also allow you to test new concepts before you release them, because your income is not dependent on everything you sell. So that basically means you can take a chance with some things. You can take a chance with a product launch that may be something you don't really exactly know if it's going to sell, but you can take a chance with it if you make sure that some or basically all of your basic income is going to be taken care of by the membership stream. So memberships are going to be important. Recurring revenue is an important element to being able to deliver for your customer. You will be a better service provider. You will be a better product creator. You will be a better coach for your customers if you can get them, if you can put people in certain places where you can deliver to them, and you're not dependent on necessarily having to sell something to them before you actually can, before you can deliver. Now, who can do these, right? So who can put a membership together? um, as long as you can process the payment, and this is something that I've said before, and it's kind of important to say again. I mean, if you can process a payment, you can set up a membership, right? So all you've got to really be able to do is set up a payment. And obviously, if you've got a website, that's where it works best. And just as an example, you can subscribe to Amazon for grocery items. So that's just an example that you can subscribe, or you can get subscribers for just about anything. And there are subscription box companies that will allow you to subscribe to services, right? So some people go shopping for you and they put a box together. Again, you can put a subscription together for just about anything. So basically, all you've got to do is decide on what kind of results you want your memberships to your customers to keep, and then you want to develop a recurring payment for it. And again, all you've really got to do is to figure out how you deliver your results cost effectively. This is probably going to be the most important element that I do want to kind of spend a little bit of time on, and this is basically how you need to view paying members. It's vital that you understand this, and this is really what will separate the success of your membership from not having success at it, because it's not just getting a recurring payment. It really is viewing your customers, those that pay you monthly, in a different way than you view someone who is just making a payment. And again, that doesn't mean then that your customers are not important if they don't get a membership get on a membership with you, but it does mean that the people who are paying you monthly are very important, and you should treat them as such. Anyone that pays you monthly, you should view that person as a VIP on some level, and we'll get into what those levels mean, because they're providing you breathing room. So basically, the exchange that you're making is not just dollar for dollar. The exchange that you're making is not just they make you a payment and you give them stuff. That's not the exchange. They become a VIP, right? Here's what you're doing. You are deciding that when someone commits to you on a monthly basis, you elevate them, because what they're giving you in return is more than a payment. They're giving you breathing room. So that is the exchange. If you understand that exchange, you will have a successful membership recurring payment at some point. It doesn't matter whether or not you don't get you get the amount right. You may struggle to kind of figure out what the dollar amount's going to be, but if you get this exchange right, that you put those people on a higher level in your mind, in your heart, in your brain, in your operation, they're giving you back breathing room, and you treat them as such. You use that breathing room. Here's what's important. You take that breathing room that you get and you use it to serve their interest. So you start to look for ways in which you're solving their problems. What are their problems? Now, they may not always know how to express them to you. You've got to be professional enough to understand what their problems are, sometimes better than they understand them themselves. But regardless of whether it is them telling you what it is or you knowing what it is, you use the breathing room that you're getting in order to serve their interests. That is the exchange. That's what you're doing, especially as a solo business owner, if you're going to be operating some kind of recurring membership. And you've always got to be giving more in value than you're receiving in dollar amount. That just goes without saying. So at some point, the balance the balance of the scale should tip to the people who are paying you monthly. So and that's just standard practice. I mean, you'll hear that in just about any information marketing business that you come across. You've got to be giving more in value than you're getting in monthly payment. Now, here's what you want to think about. When you consider the collective of all of the monthly payments, they're worth more to you than just someone who buys from you on the straight, right? Somebody who pays whatever your standard rate is. Um, those monthly payments are worth more to you. They really are, again, because of what they allow you to do in your business. And so when you design your business operations, when you design your day-to-day operations, when you design how am I going to go about my day, you need to keep that in mind. You need to keep in mind those people that are giving you that breathing room so that you can then start to design the business so that you serve their interest with all that breathing room that you are getting. And again, you want to constantly build up that breathing room. You should be focusing on making sure that you have as many people as you can because you want to serve them better. So if you want to serve people better, you've got to get more people into recurring, and then you use that breathing room to serve them better. And so again, it is an exchange. If you understand it, if you understand how to do it, you will get better and better at administrating a recurring membership. Now, here's what's important. There's only one person that you need to put higher in your hierarchy, right? And I don't have time to get into this. And that's only someone who's paying you at a higher ticket, but they're paying you a recurring level high ticket. So someone even that, let's say they make a one-time payment and it's a high ticket, they still don't get there still should not be as higher priority as your monthly members. So the only person that you elevate is someone who is paying you on a recurring basis, who's paying you for a one-on-one relationship and paying you high ticket. High ticket recurring is the only person that you elevate above your monthly member. Other than that, your monthly member is your VIP and you elevate them. Again, this is the math that you need to keep in your head. Dollar amounts, you can work those things out. You will figure out what the right dollar amount is and what you should be charging people. You do have to understand this this element and this kind of math. Here's where not to spend your time. The most important aspect of your membership is your value proposition. And it's going to be tempting for you to worry about the membership platform. I'm going to tell you not to worry about the membership platform. It's not important. The most important thing is that you understand, first of all, what we just talked about, right? The exchange. Second, the value proposition. And that really is the value proposition, is really the exchange, where you're going to put these people, you're going to make these people VIP for the breathing room they're giving you, right? If you understand that, if you focus on that, that's going to be more important than the actual platform you deliver on. The payment system, right? So again, I mean, yes, I mean, if you've got PayPal, you've got Stripe, you can take credit cards and all that stuff, you're fine, right? So just kind of don't get overly focused on all of those things, because these are the things that really slow people down. People will spend an inordinate amount of time on the platform. It's not about the platform. It's about the value proposition, and it's about delivering it in a way that makes you comfortable day in and day out. Now, it's going to take you, it's going to give you less energy to make sure you get the value proposition right and you communicate the offer right. So those are the two things that you've got to spend your time and your effort and your energy on. And you got to make sure that you're communicating the offer sometimes even before people get to the sales page. So long before people get to your sales page, they ought to know what the value proposition is. And it doesn't matter how you do it. In some cases, you might want to do some kind of weekly training. You might want to do some kind of webinar pitch. But before people get to the sales page, you don't want people to see that membership kind of blind. So you want them to, and it could be in your email marketing. It could be there. People should understand that. So by the time they get to the sales page, they're almost pre-sold. They are pre-convinced. They understand the value proposition because you have been training people over and over again what that value proposition is. And membership sale is going to be worth your time to get right. And so you want to take your time, you want to get the right people, and you want to make sure they understand what it is they're buying when they get to the sales page so that they're not under any preconceived notion they're going to get anything other than the things you've been talking about. But those things you have been talking about prior to them getting to there, you want to make sure that those things are the things driving them and motivating them to want to become part of your recurring membership. Um, if you're going to be doing something like a video or something like that, you want to just kind of be matching up and take a look at the statistics, right? I mean, typically, webinar companies and YouTube, they'll give you some statistics, and you can find out where people are dropping off. And so, if it's at the point at which you start talking about the offer, then you've got to start working on your presentation. if if people are leaving right in the middle of what it is where you're talking about the price, then hey, you know what? Then you've got to make sure people understand the value before you get to the price. You don't have to get too fancy and into those things, but just take a look and to see what people are saying, to see what people are doing as a result of your webinar. Here's what you have to get right. Right? Here's what you must get right over and above everything else. And let's see, it looks like I'm looking at my slide presentation and I don't think that I did the animation. So I'm going to take a minute here and I'm just going to animate this. So let's go ahead and animate this. I'll make sure everything else is animated. Yep, everything else we got here. So sorry about that. Okay, here's what you have to get right. Um, get your onboarding, refine your onboarding process. You can never get that right enough. So a good onboarding process will cover a multitude of sins. So if you can, right, make sure you're always refining how you onboard people. And you've got to make sure there are going to be no hiccups in the recurring payment process. And if you get those two things right, you're going to be fine. So if your system doesn't lock people out, make sure you get notification. So, make sure your payment system tells you, make sure you get an email, make sure you know so that when people get locked out, you can go ahead and lock them out. In some cases, you might need to go back and clean up the process, but as long as you're getting notifications, that's what you want to make sure that you are right. What you don't want to have is you don't want to have people being in your membership indefinitely and you not knowing and you not getting notification. Go back through this process on a routine basis. And one of the things that you can do to help yourself is there's a book called The Design of Everyday Things by Donald Norman. It's a very important book as to how you design some of these processes and how you can improve upon them over and over again. Let's talk about where you're going to focus. Um, you've got to get people used to what you're selling them, right? And if you're going to get people to kind of stay past the average time. And so um, what you're trying to do is to get people to consume. And I think there's a gentleman, his name is Sean D'Souza. He does something called Cycle Tactics, and that's really what his whole membership is really about, is how do you get people to consume what it is that you are selling? And that could be a physical product, but typically I'm talking about a digital product. How can you get people using it? How can you get people watching it, into it? You got to get people's fingers on it in some kind of way. And so most of this is going to come in how you design it. And so you might have to take a loss you might have to let some things take a back seat to get people into using what it is that you have. And so basically that is what you were trying to do. You're trying to get people to consume it in some way. One way to make this easy, right? You can do a one-to-many group training, right? That will help people. You can also highlight some of your members, right? Who are doing some things with what it is that you're doing. And so basically, in everything you're doing, you should be developing, these kinds of relationships so that you know what people are doing to get success. I do want to talk about some different, some additional elements of monetization. And this is kind of important because what you can do is you can charge for individual modules of your membership. You don't have to make it so that nobody gets what you put inside of your membership. You're just going to charge more for people who are not in your membership to get them, right? So let's say that people are paying $27 a month to get a module. Then if anybody else who gets it, they're going to have to pay 37, right? That should be the standard rate. And then you upsell people into the membership. Basically, all you're really doing is monetizing what you are creating, and you're giving the value, and you're valuing and you're elevating the people in your membership. You can also partner with people who are inside of the membership, right? If you do a podcast, you can bring people on, and you can give them some public relations. You can give them some free press. You give them some advertising opportunities. There are some people who do solo ads. So in other words, basically, they will allow people inside their membership to send an email to their audience. Again, it's just a way of being able to provide value in in different levels of monetization. And in some cases, you won't have to the individual to pay extra, and other times you will. Let's talk about logistics, right? Cloud-based membership platforms. Should you use WordPress or should you use cloud-based? Uh, there's no science on this. One's not better than the other one. It has to be a business decision. What's important is going to be uptime and reliability. So it's not bells and whistles. So please do not go for that. Someone will sell you a membership platform, and you're going to see a lot of them on AppSumo. You're going to see a lot of them being released. You're going to make a one-time payment. And please don't think I'm picking on AppSumo. I'm just saying you're going to see a number of places that will be releasing them, and you're going to get good deals on them, right? They're going to happen. That's not the most important thing, what you paid for it. What's important is that it stays up and it keeps running. And so that's what you have to pay for. And so if you can pay for it and get it one time, fine, but typically you don't know that up front. And so you've got to pay for uptime and reliability, because uptime and reliability really translates into recurring payments, right? So you've got to make sure that what you're buying stays up and running. And so typically, and one of the things you have to understand about WordPress is that unless you have somebody operating it, that means that you are on the hook for it. And so your customer doesn't really care that, hey, my server went down and they're trying to fix it. Nobody cares about that. They only care that they're paying you and they want to get in there. And so if somebody else has to manage that, that might be a better option. And that's what I find, that unless you're really technical, unless you know how to go in there and fix those problems with WordPress, sometimes allowing somebody else to deal with those things, it is a better option, so that you can focus on marketing, right? So again, yeah, if you're going to purchase something that's cloud-based, talk to people that have used it. And so that precludes going out and buying something new. So, if it's brand new and you're talking about putting people in there before before you've tested it, before you've looked at it, I don't know if I would allow my monthly recurring revenue to depend on something experimental. And I don't think you should be doing that either. So unless you know what's going to happen, you want to get something that you know is going to be, or at least you think is going to be, reliable. And so if you are getting this during a launch, be judicious. Don't just go out and pay for something just because you're getting a good deal. It never fails that if you get a good deal, sometimes you could really end up getting right in the middle of a membership, and then the thing will crash or go sideways, and you can't get support, and you never were quite sure about it, but you just got a good deal, and so you put people on there. That's not the way you want to do this. So even if you got to pay and you got to bypass a deal, you need to make sure that the platform you put people on is something that you can rely on and something they can rely on, because they're not concerned about whether or not you can't get in there or not. Determine whether or not they're going to be bandwidth limits. Once again, this is something that, as of the recording of this, depending on when you're listening to this or you're watching this, the service company Vimeo went from allowing unlimited videos for a certain amount of money to counting the number of those videos. So again, some of these things are going to be out of your control. You're not going to be able to control them all, but you need to be aware, and you have to start thinking about, okay, you know what deal am I getting? And is there a bandwidth limit? And so how close am I to the bandwidth limit? Is there a storage limit? All of those things. And you've got to be aware also, once again, reliability and uptime means typically a company can kind of change the deal midstream, if they're going to be smaller in nature, right? So just kind of keeping that in mind. And then, make a determination of whether or not you have control over the look and feel of the site, and how much control you get, how much control you want. Sometimes one of the best things you can do is to get something that has a clean look, so you don't have to fool around with it, and so that you can't mess it up. And that sounds negative, but it's just the truth. Sometimes when you're not a designer, and you don't necessarily have that area of expertise, being able to go in and do too much to the background, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing if you can go in and customize stuff. Sometimes you need to have a case where, but it looks basically good without you having to do anything to it. And so that you don't have to send a designer in there, and you don't have to do it. So again, think about that. Think about who you are as a solopreneur, and what you want to deliver to your customer. And then make sure they're backing up the platform. And if they don't back it up, you back it up. And if you're putting downloads on there, you should make sure your downloads are backed up into another cloud storage area, or you can back it up, back things up, double back things up between Dropbox and Microsoft OneDrive. Again, they should be backing it up, but you should be backing it up also. And over and above everything else, make sure you can export content from your platform. So, make sure that there's a button that you can push. If they get tired of you, you get tired of them, and you say, you know what, I'm going to be moving my membership over to someplace else. I want to be able to hit the export button and take all my stuff out of here and move it. You need to be able to do that. And so, because again, relationships don't always stay the same over the course of decades. They change. And so, you might want to, you want to be able to take all of your content, or the majority of it, and move it over to some place if by chance somebody does something that again, it's just going to be bad for your customers. And so you can then move that move your membership over to someplace else when you need to. Okay, any questions? I think we are right at 30 minutes, so I'm happy. Any questions? I think I can see your questions. Hey, any questions? Oh, no worries, Craig. I mean, there will be a replay. So I am rethinking, not doing replays. I'm probably a softie, so I will figure out how to do a replay. Any questions? Yep, I will, Craig. Yeah, I will do that. All right, everybody. Well, thanks very much for hanging out with me here. I think that I will probably do the DFY Live Masterclass tomorrow. I am starting to lose my voice a little bit here, and um, I'm going to give my voice a chance to rest. All right. So thanks for hanging out with me here. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.